What up, you guys? Jonny Truelove here. Welcome to Wake Up Wednesdays. This is our very first video, and in this episode, we're going to be talking about the shadow self and how your old beliefs are no longer going to serve you, and how to integrate the shadow self with who you are today to start creating the new story for yourself. Without further ado, let's jump right into this.
I told you before I laid my eyes on you. I'm not too sure, I just can't take my eyes off you.
But cheers to water.
Cheers to water.
Okay. Let me introduce myself. I'm Jonny O, aka Jonny Truelove. There is the lovely Robin, aka Robbie. Today we're going to be talking about the shadow self, and also talking about our upbringings and what we believe that we thought what we were supposed to be, and how we shed that and integrate that into who we are today. So real quick, how did we meet, Robbie?
We met a year ago at Warwick.
Yeah. Yeah. It just seems like
I was looking at you like you were weird. I've heard you say this a couple times, and I'm like, no, I was like, I just said hi.
Yeah. Wait.
Later,
Remind me, because I was probably had a couple way too many drinks at that time. But tell me, like, I mean, remind me, because did you used to be like blonde or anything, or did you?
Yeah, I mean, I was never blonde, but like I've had, I guess, blonde honey. Like there's some honey colored in there, you know?
Yeah, okay, got you. But I always remembered you about when we recently, because if you guys don't know this, we recently connected only because I put up a post in my story talking about star seeds and people waking up into who they are and their power, and a new awakening that's been coming over this 2020. So Robbie over here replied back, "Oh, hello, Mr. Squirrel." Is it a he or a she? It's a she.
It's a she.
I could tell, the pink collar, right?
Oh yeah. She's gonna join us for a little bit.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so a year ago, it was Warwick, and we were at Greg's table.
Yeah,
Greg, I always
shout out to Greg. What up, Greg?
Hi, Greg.
Right.
Yeah, I went to Greg's table with some friends, and because I always go out with him, and yeah, and then you showed up, and it was just like all love at that table. Everybody was like having a good time.
It always is. Yeah, that's what I like about that table. It always cool. But at that time, I had a girlfriend at the time, and I don't know if you know. So basically, my awakening came from a relationship, an ex-relationship, and that's when I kind of knew that it had nothing to do with them. It had everything to do with me, and how I wasn't holding myself accountable, thinking that I think people should act a certain way so I can feel a certain way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What about you? What did you feel yours was?
My awakening, I think just for me, I think my emotions just tend to get the best of me. I'm like highly emotional, highly sensitive. Yeah. But I don't think I was ever taught that you can kind of visit those and manage them.
Yeah.
And it didn't have to run you. So somewhere, like, I think I saw some posts, and then that turned into like me. I like to research everything. So I'm like, wait a minute, what's this?
But don't all women like to research?
Yeah, we do.
You guys are like A1, like Inspector Gadget. You guys can find out everything from anything.
You know what? I will say this. I'm not like that, but I always, because I'm not very good at that. But I've always had friends who are, so I'm like, if I can get it done, like, just because I can't do it, don't fuck with me, like.
Right. I got you.
They know somebody who can, you know.
Mm-hmm. So for you, when did you feel your calling, and waking up to who you are, your spirituality, and then integrating your shadow self with Robbie?
I will say. Honestly, it wasn't just one point for me. I think it came slowly for me. Mine was like, it kind of appeared during certain times of like, oh my God, there's a different, hold on a sec, battery low. You still see me? Okay. It would come across times where I'd have these moments like, there's gotta be something different. It was like, it kept calling me. Something was like, it just kept visiting me. And I'd put it back away. I'd be like, all right, I'm just gonna do what I've always done.
Right.
And then I think it was just noticing how I would interact with my past, with relationships, how I responded to things.
Yeah.
And it was, a lot of it was angry, or like not angry, but just like kind of like whatever, like bitter a little bit, you know?
Sure.
So I started reading stuff. I just started like, and then I went down that rabbit hole. You know, I mean, nowadays there's Instagram, there's YouTube, there's constant ads like popping in your face.
Yeah.
And you start to read some of this stuff, and at first you're like, whatever.
Right.
And then you really start to read it. And for me, I was like, oh, like it made me start thinking. So I went down that rabbit hole and just started talking to different people. And somewhere along the line, I just wanted to know more. I wanted to heal. I wanted to like operate from love.
Mm-hmm.
And there was still those parts of me that was like, you know, you can't just be, let me just operate from love. Let me just be love.
Yeah.
But I think the shadow self that we talk about is like your past, maybe your past self, and it'll revisit you. You always say it, you'll be tested. I'm like, tested? What do you mean?
Big time.
But you really are, because you'll revisit parts of yourself if you haven't like faced them or learned anything from them. They'll visit you in one form or another, and it's, I don't know, it's been interesting. It's been a ride. Yeah.
So I mean, for me, like, I don't know, before all this, I was a dating coach. And so a long time, I was hurt, and I didn't realize what I was becoming was coming from a lower level of consciousness. So I always told myself back when I was 18, it was really, really dark actually. So I just thought I was never good enough. I got cheated on, got her a promise ring. And I was like, well, this, dude, it's over, blah, 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 whatever, you know, you go through your own sad story. So I made sure I became the best at what I did, was understanding social dynamics, understanding more so women's psychology, and how to build attraction through these, you know, what I like to call is it's a playground. It's really an identity that I've been associated with, the identity of, oh, that's the guy, that's the dude, that's the guy always with the girls. Even though I was, what a lot of people don't realize, I've developed relationships with a lot of these people. I mean, not all romantic, but a lot of them just, you know, pure friendship, you know what I mean? And so I just became that guy. But then I also understood that even when I had a girlfriend, that last relationship, or, you know, I had a lot of girlfriends, but the last one really took me by surprise, because I did everything that I never would normally do with any other girl, you know?
Like what?
Let's see, get a house in Puerto Rico, moving the kids.
Puerto Rico.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're at Puerto Rican. Hey, I can never get away from Puerto Ricans. I don't know why. You guys remind me a lot of our culture. It's the same. So it was different. And again, when I found out this is more, has a lot to do with me and my shadow self, and my portray who am I supposed to be as a dating coach. Why can't I manage my own relationship with what I have? So then I started thinking to myself, Jonny, I was like, yeah, you need help. Not help in a sense of I need to see a therapist, but I needed to find out what I wanted to find out, what was going on with me. So internally, a lot of the times what was happening was the resentment that I had. I felt like, because I felt like this is, you know, growing up, especially in a Filipino culture, it's, you know, marry a nurse, be a nurse. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it is. It's like, you know, you need a girl that's going to help you out too, and blah, blah, blah. But in my mind, I was just like, no, I mean, a girl can always provide value in other ways. It doesn't have to be so much finances. You know what I'm saying? Because I think in my world, like, I also know that was always my struggle. It's like, okay, well, there's always a girl that's in need or wanting to do something, but she can't. Especially in LA these days, a lot of them, they live and settle and do the whole, you know, the sugar daddy life. I mean, which is cool. God bless the sugar daddies. Thank God. I mean,
God bless the sugar daddy.
God bless the sugar daddy. Nothing against that. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
what is it? Like, I don't want to live a life of just settling ever. You know what I mean? And that's why I was like, what's more? What's next? What's next? And then I got over the whole, like, outside exterior beauty thing. Yes, I love that. I love that. That's my first nature. Oh yeah, she's freaking hot. Like, I'm gonna check her out. However, the moment a woman speaks, the moment she talks, give me 2 minutes, I'll know where she is intellectually. Yeah. I'll know where she is mentally and spiritually, and that determines whether or not if that's someone who's a vibrational match for me.
Pause. Okay, so when did you change from caring about what, like, did you ever? Because I feel like a lot of times there's been times where it's like, all right, that guy or that girl's like hot, right? And that's what you're looking at. But when did it change for you, like, wanting to know, like, when somebody would speak, then it's like that started really mattering, like what was coming out of their mouth? Was it always that way, or was it like at a certain point you're like, no, I just can't do this anymore?
Well, for a long time, because I was a male stripper, you know, so a lot of girls I dated were strippers too. So I felt like that was the common playground for me. It was like, oh, you're both hot, and there was never such a thing as boring sex. And it was just like, ooh, I was fueled by the looks, the fantasy, you know. But then when you think about your fights and how different you guys really are, in the moment they speak and you guys disrespect each other and talk to each other a certain way, it just kind of just goes out the window. It's like, oh, guy, and sometimes you really want to call them out on things that you notice. But what I've also realized is when you have to call them out, the only reason why you recognize that is because you see yourself in them. That shadow version of you is in them. So two toxic people always belong to two toxic people. So, you know, your beliefs change after a certain while, and there's a certain peace and a certain calmness when no one else is around to judge you or for you to call out anyone. Because at the end of the day, you're left with yourself and you have to find out who you are again. I really feel like the identity version of all of this is the whole reason for the awakening, as you can see, you know. But I'm so grateful. And then like I bump into people like you, super connected. I'm like, wow, just amazing. I feel like I've known you for a million lifetimes, you know. But tell me about your shout. Like,
I feel like you're talking about like attraction to like your shadow self or the person you were before, the toxic person. It's toxic attracts toxic, right?
Sure.
And like you're taking a look. Usually when you don't like something about somebody, a lot of times it has a lot more to do with you than you realize.
Of course, it always is.
If you haven't sat with yourself, I feel like a lot of times you wouldn't be so upset if it didn't have a lot to do with you. You know, it hits a chord because you're like, whether you want to admit it or not, like you're like, maybe I see something of myself in that.
Yeah, that's the part that bugs it. It bugs you about it. Like, okay, here's another thing. Here, like my whole life I've been a flirt. I've just been that way, dude. I'm an Aries. I'm a touchy-feely person. Like I just, you know, that's how I was naturally growing up. Okay. So then one time, someone said to me like, hey, you know, you're very touchy-feely, huh? You know, you shouldn't do all that because you kind of send out the wrong signals, or, you know, I'm like, I'm not comfortable with that. But I don't realize everyone has their thing. So I felt like I need to behave a certain way. So like, I'm always watching myself because sometimes, and then this is the crazy thing. I dated a girl that was the same sign as me, and I saw her act the way she acted. I'm like, I don't know what bugged me about it. I'm like, dude, do you have to do that? Like, you're sending out the fucking wrong signal. Like, this guy thinks you like it. Puts me in a weird situation. And it's like, I'm telling her now how to behave. And I'm listening to this. I'm like, oh my God, that's me. You know, it bugged the shit out of me. I'm not going to lie at the time, you know? But again, that also goes with not knowing who you really are, your identity. Like, I've learned to integrate that. I think the integration of it all, your shadow self and who you are today, is exactly where you are. Like, what about you? I want to know, where were you as a shadow, and then, you know, integrating who are hiding and suppressing into who you are? Because I think
for me, a lot of it was growing up. Like if something happened, my family just wanted to make it better. So if something happened or something in the family, it was like, well, don't worry about it. It's over now. We're just gonna move on, and it's done. We just go forward.
Right.
And a lot of times I don't think people like are given the chance to take a look at something and sit with it for a minute. So like when you talk about knowing yourself, like sometimes things affect you and they create behaviors and patterns or emotions that you suppress, or you just, I don't want to deal with it. Like, and I was taught like, no, act like it didn't happen. Yeah. And I feel like a part of knowing yourself is understanding why you react to things the way you do. But a lot of people, up until, I think now it's really changing. Like people are talking about it. They're talking about emotional awareness, emotional intelligence, loving yourself more, and not like, not bubble baths and face masks, like really getting to know yourself, being aware, self-aware, and just calling yourself on your own bullshit too, but nobody ever, I feel like for the longest time, that wasn't even a thing. Or maybe it was, at least it wasn't for me.
Never thought so.
It was just like, I'm just going to be who I am, this is who I am, and this is who I'll always be. It wasn't until just things getting a little rocky, very rocky, being able to be like, all right, something's got to change. And what's my purpose? And I feel like I don't have one, but I'm meant to be so much more. And it was just like this lingering question and depression for me. But I felt like you know, something was attracting me to these things. And that's why when you talk about like vibrations and energy, I feel like your higher self, it's calling you to where you need to be because you want it.
Right.
And it'll guide you there some way or some, and it's not always pretty. It's not, I feel like the ways you go there, you can kick, fight, and scream. It's not always pretty, but it'll help you get to where you need to be in the experiences you have.
Yeah.
It's just a part of the journey. You talk about contrast a lot, right?
Yeah.
And like those contrasts and kind of like finding the lessons in certain things. I'll give a quick example. I didn't want to go to work the other day. I was like, I just don't want to do this. This isn't exactly what I want.
Right.
And then I was thinking, I was like, let me reset my mindset. I don't know what it is. Let's reset it. So I got there and I met like 3 people from like 11 to 2. I met 3 people and the conversations were just like, it put me back in my place, took my ego out really quickly. It's like, no, you have so much to learn. You have so much to, so much to learn, so many people to meet, and because they're going to teach you stuff along the way. So it's kind of like, enjoy your journey. Don't rush your journey. Don't hate on your journey.
Yeah.
So,
wow. But isn't it?
It's crazy.
It's funny, huh? Like if you were to look at yourself back, I would say, I don't know, like 6 months ago, can you honestly tell me that you're the same girl? You're the same person with the same lives?
Oh no. I think it's been so much learning. Yeah. And again, I've stressed this, when you're like waking up and when you're getting to know yourself or learning to love yourself, it is not easy.
It's not. Because
a lot of your patterns, you're going to want to shame yourself for them. You're going to want to feel, or you'll feel guilty. Or a lot of times we just, why do I do that? Why, But instead of like, why do I do that? It's like, okay, that happened. Yeah. That created that behavior. Oh my, I get why that happened. Right. I get why I do that. I don't have to do that though. Like I don't have to. I can totally reset the way I'm looking at the situation and kind of like adjust my thinking. So no, and then I feel like the last 6 months has been such a process, like the biggest growth phase for me in my entire life. And I'm 30 now. Like,
wow.
And I still think,
bro, not ashamed. Beautiful.
Thank you. No, I used to kind of like feel embarrassed. Like, I feel like I'm getting up there and I don't know my purpose or what I really want to do. And it feels like everybody else around me knows. And now it's like, I kind of look at it like, oh my God, I needed to have all these experiences. Right. I needed to kind of bring me to where I am. Mm-hmm. So I'm 30. I guess I'm figuring it out and it's freaking amazing. And I love it.
Beautiful.
And I can definitely look back and appreciate like the contrast and confusing moments a lot more because they bring me to where I am today. So it's like, yeah, then I don't know.
Isn't it crazy? Because I always felt like before it's like, why is this, what's happening to me? Why, we go into this victimization mentality where it's just like, God, like nothing's working out, blah, blah, blah. But in essence, it is, because without the contrast, how would you know what you want? How would you know what to do? How would you know what your purpose is? You know what I mean?
And a lot of times too, it gives you the opportunity to relate to others. Because I feel like there's certain things like that I've been through where had I not, I would still be looking at somebody else and be like, why do you do that? Or like, why? Like just me, and now I'm like, chat. Don't worry about yourself. You're good. Like it's a lot. It teaches you so much about just grace and humility and loving people, loving yourself again. And that's one of those things where you're like, if you see it in somebody else and you're like, maybe you see something in yourself too, right?
Of course.
So I don't know. Life has a funny way of happening to teach you the things you need to know. And I feel like it gives you exactly what you need. You have everything you need to figure it out.
Exactly. Because here's the thing, like, I mean, I look at you now and I like, how long we've been like connecting? Maybe like what, a month, 2 months, maybe?
Yeah.
But I swear to you, I feel like I've known you for a lifetime. It's strange.
I know. It's very weird. Because when we were at Warwick, it was just a quick, what's up? Everybody's here.
Yeah,
How many
it's usually party. And I'm usually yelling at the time because I'm already tipsy. I'm like, oh God. And that is not no Jonny Truelove. That's crazy me. That's the part I suppress a long time. What a lot of people don't understand is like, even as a dating coach, like I remember one time I would like smoke weed with an ex or something, and she'd be like, but I'm one of those weird ones where the real inner child comes out, and I'm afraid how people look at me. So I'll never forget this. She's like, do you know how strange you are? And I said, what do you mean? She goes, so, I mean, I was super, super high, and she started recording it. And then she played it back for me to watch. I'm like, ew, gross. What did I say? Like, what did I just say? Ew. Oh my God. So I was so embarrassed. So I felt like I needed to change that who I was, because who I was is who I was. And I wanted to like start changing the way I say things, watching what I said, but I've learned to make peace with it, because without that contrast, I couldn't have become the better half, which is Jonny Truelove, and then integrate both into becoming peace. You need both. You really need both. And you can't have one or the other. Otherwise you just be a body without a soul. And a body without a soul is just someone that's just not living, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's funny speaking of shadow selves, I was going through, at that time when I had met you, speaking of a shadow self, I should probably plug my phone in just so it doesn't die. Hold on one second.
Okay.
Okay. I might have to be a little higher. Okay.
It's all good.
It looks so funny. Let me see.
Is this our Tinder date? Just kidding.
Yes, it's a Tinder date.
Can you imagine if Tinder date started off like this? So please tell me about your spirituality.
Is this dating now? Is this dating? Like, this is how dating goes though, huh?
I mean, I would
Do
never.
you have a Zoom date? I would never.
This is Hey, what you see is what you get. These wrinkles are real, see?
So, shadow self. So, and it's funny because your shadow self, like, a lot of times you can look back and be like, ugh, like, why did I do that?
Yeah.
You know, or you can look at it like, I needed that part of me for where I'm going.
Exactly.
Right. So at the time you met me, I had gone through a breakup, and so I think I was like, actually no, I had gone through it quite a bit before, but I was so proud of myself at that time, right? Yeah. Not even spiritually in tune, not paying any attention to that. But all I knew was I had learned independence. I had learned I got me. I have a job. I had 3 jobs at the time. I had my girlfriends with me. If we wanted to party, like, we had Uber, I could get anywhere. I could take care of myself, and I could make all the choices without having to answer to anybody. Yeah. And I thought I was doing so good. And I was at the time for me, like, that was really good for me then. But I wasn't always doing the healthiest things for my lifestyle either. I was partying all night and going out to Warwick and coming home at like, I don't even know when. And then, you know, spinning the wheels at both ends, like, or with burning the candle at both ends, and going to work and then just exhausted. So, but I thought to me at that time, I was like, God, I'm doing so good. I'm like, I don't need anybody. I got this. Like, I'm spending time with me. And now I look back and I'm like, oh, you had it so wrong. But I really didn't. Like, I had it right for me then. Like, I needed that point to come to this point, right? So shadow self, it's like, okay, I had to gain that, like, knowledge of what independence was for me at that time.
Right.
And now, like, with, you know, just growing as a person and learning more about myself and kind of revisiting situations and being like, huh, without judgment, without like, God, why did I do that? Like, oh, instead of why did I do that, it's like, I can see why I did that. Of course, that was one option, and I took that option. Yeah. And that makes a lot of sense for that situation, but I didn't have to do it that way. Or I don't have to feel a certain way. Or maybe I did have to do it that way, but I don't have to shame myself for it. You know? Yeah.
So you've embraced who you were, and then you made peace with it.
Yeah, and then now it comes along and you have, like, said, it's part of everybody's journey. Whatever you've done, it's like you can find it, you can just find understanding in it. Make peace with it. You know, I feel like we beat ourselves up a lot. Or have you seen those quotes where it's like my brain beating me up at 4 a.m. in the morning, reminding me of all the things I did 12 years ago? I'm like, stay in there. But revisiting those things, like, you don't have to feel that way. You get to, like, kind of revisit and recalibrate how you think about things.
Recalibration, I like that word. That's good. Someone's aligned AF right now. Woo woo! I call her Robbie. I call her her perfect half, Robbie. She's always in the vortex, right?
The vortex. I just feel like, especially lately, life's kind of sending me exactly what I need, and it's teaching me things, and I'm taking it all in, and I'm loving it.
Don't you love it? It's an amazing journey, isn't it? Like,
what did you call it? You call it milking it? What do you say?
milking it. Like you can milk the experiences out of all of them. Like if I'm like for example, this was the Zoom date and we started like what, 10, I would let it flow through my better half talking to your better half. And the next thing you know, that's what happens. That's what the feeling is when you're having a good time. Time freezes. Time is only a time way to measure what's happening in this time frame. But without it, the absence of time is just space. So if we have an amazing time, if people have an amazing time together, the last thing to do is look at the clock, or sometimes you look at it and you're like, oh, where the hell did the time go? I don't know. I just wasn't focused there. I was focused on feeling good. And to me, I've always made that new rule to myself is every moment's a new moment, and practicing how you feel is exactly what you're going to attract. And you can experience a lot of contrast from a lot of people, especially people that you're close to, because those are the ones who really know you, like even before all this. And it's going to sound loop-de-loo, like you're a crazy person. Trust me, people think I'm a new age hippie.
Okay, for me, and that's the weird thing. Like I would always think like, people are going to think I'm weird when I talk about this. I can't tell you how many people I feel like are just like, oh yeah, like you too? And I'm like,
oh yeah, that's good.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm like, you really? So I don't know if it's like kind of like, that law of attraction. Like it seems like the conversations, I'm attracting the right conversations with the right people who are on the same frequency, and it's weird. That's the loopy weird part. That's the weird part, because I'm like, is it just me, or is this like going really, really, really well? Like,
really well.
Yeah, no, it is. It's been good.
Isn't this so much more fulfilling than? Because like I'm gonna be honest with you, I've never done a dating app in my whole life. I'm more of a.
I think I was on Rate USA when I was like 18, but I never used it. Like I never met up.
Yeah.
I wasn't that. I don't even know if that was a dating website. It was just profiles.
Yeah, like I just never understood it. Like for me, like I'm an extrovert. You see me, what you see is what you get. I am who I am, and I present myself to you because I know my identity. This is why I've steered away from the whole pickup scene and the whole like you need these lines. I mean, that's cool for someone who doesn't know their identity yet, like a teenager kid. And like they're not the best looking guy. They lack a lot of confidence because everyone who's around that age, even your 20s, like me I'm 37. I didn't really know who I was up until 10 months ago. That's when I started to. Can you believe that? Mm-hmm. And that's why I have I love hard, meaning because I love myself hard. People think I'm conceited. Well, I tell people, if I don't do it, are you going to do it for me? No, I just love myself. Yeah. You see?
That's the thing about loving yourself and working on yourself.
Yeah.
Like taking the time to be okay up here. Yeah. Nobody can be up here for you.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what I mean? I mean, people can help you and guide you. That's the thing about also asking other people for their opinions and what you should do. Because I used to always want people to figure it out for me. Like, I want you to know why I should do this because maybe it's like data or, I don't know, analytical. Like, for some reason, I think you know better than I do. But it's like, based off whatever their experience is, they might not have the right answers for me. That might be right for their situation. But
exactly.
I don't know.
It's relatable. That's why I always feel like we share one. We are one collective consciousness. That's why when you're angry, I know what angry looks like because I've been angry. You see, but look at kids. Like kids these days, all they want to do is play all day. You know what I mean? And they don't know what's bad, what's good. They just observe and they just do what feels good. And that's why it's the innocence about them. It's like that inner child about all of us, even as adults. That part of the kid is still existent in us, but we suppress it so much because we want to be accepted to society or what society thinks is beautiful.
Right.
By the way, we look beautiful tonight. Thank you very much.
I think kids too. Like I heard this the other day I forgot where I heard this. I really wish I did remember. But anyways, they were talking about children and they were like saying, children aren't born with fears of flying. Children aren't born with a fear of or phobias.
Yeah.
It's gained over experiences, life experiences. And if that can be gained and learned, I mean, can it be unlearned? Or can't you revisit like, oh my God, that situation that made me feel that way?
Right.
Kind of a way you think about it. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, that really resonated with me because I'm like, yeah, we weren't born with this stuff. Like I wasn't born being insecure.
Yeah.
I'm big and like all in my glory, like, Mom,
you know what's funny? It's funny that you say that, this whole conditioning thing. Like when I was younger, like Filipinos, like my dad was like superstitious. He used to tell me, John, he goes, I tell my parents about my dream. I had a dream that my teeth fell out. And usually in dream world, that doesn't mean something that that doesn't mean anything good. It means death is coming or bad news are going to happen. That's what I was brought up to know. And so every time I had a bad dream like that, and there was a death somewhere, oh, it was that dream you had 2 weeks ago, that one 2 weeks ago. But up until recent, I shit you not, I had a dream. Remember I told you like on July 4th, I didn't go out and I took in a lot of energy that day, and I had that dream, but not just one tooth, all my teeth fell out.
Oh no.
So immediately the shadow self, I just felt like my upbringing, because I had the fear. I was like, shit's gonna hit the floor. I reset and reframe the story. It doesn't have to be that way. Your thoughts are beliefs, and your beliefs become reality. It's a repetitive pattern that you keep thinking. So what if I change the pattern? What if I break the matrix? What if I say to myself, well, maybe the teeth falling out was me letting go of the shadow fear. So I don't have to be afraid of thinking something bad's going to happen. Maybe it's just my own personal belief that I'm shedding and I'm growing to something more. Baby teeth will grow. So baby teeth become strong, or get dentures, whatever.
So from here on out,
What's that?
From here on out, it's not a fear for you anymore.
No.
You're like, this is me shedding some. So if you reframe the story in your mind, you retaught your mind to think something different.
Like Rob likes to say, recalibrate.
Recalibrate. You recalibrated it.
And who says guys don't listen? Woof. That's powerful. Guys get that. That one's free.
If you could revisit things, I feel like sometimes things happen and we don't even realize that it affects us. But like I was listening to actually somebody today too. I think she's like the Truth Doctor or something. She's awesome. I love her page. But she was saying, situations really do affect us. Emotions and trauma affect us on a cellular level.
You do.
And if we don't, you posted a video about it too, like trauma, how we put it over here.
Yeah.
Whether it's just a feeling or something that made you feel a certain insecure, the teeth. You put it over here, but it's always been over here, right? And you go on, you don't realize like, oh my God, this is like something I'm operating based off fear, or when I see this, I go that way because I already know that situation. But it's a lot of subconscious stuff that we don't even realize could be a thing.
It is.
And I feel like taking time to understand why we do what we do, or why do I do that? Okay, well, if that's because of that, like you said, like with revisiting those situations, you can recalibrate them. You don't have to do certain things. You don't have to live in fear or operate with certain behaviors.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's the whole part of me. That's why I really feel like meditation was such a big thing. Like for me, it's like life-changing. Dude, you asked me this 10 minutes ago. I was like, meditation, that's gay. I don't do yoga. I was like, what the fuck? But dude, it's like just changed my whole life. It allowed me to quiet my mind. And when I did my whole transformation, after 18 days, that's why a lot of meditations I just like that I create. I said, do it for 18 days straight, because when you allow yourself to let go, just let go of everything that's holding you and those old beliefs, you have nothing. It's such a freedom. It's such a dude, I was bawling my eyes out because I cried because I happiness.
I'm not gonna lie.
You cried?
Like
spiritual
eyes out, bawling it. But like it's funny because the first time I listened to it, I was like, "What is this?" Like, okay, all right, I'll bite.
Which one? The letting go one or the 31-minute one?
I think the 31-minute part of it. Like it took me like 10 seconds. So I was like, this music, and then I was like, Robin, stop fighting it, give it a chance.
Yeah.
So I started giving it a chance. The first day it was like second day I was like the third day I was just like, whoa. Okay, I get why you have to do this a few times, because you're not so open the first couple of times of meditating, right? And then as you go on, like I feel like for me, like I had to just let go, and I'm like, I'm gonna pour myself into this and just let go and absorb it and see what happens, because I want to know if it's gonna like help. And it really does. But yeah, I think by the end of it, I was just like sobbing with happiness, like, oh my God.
You didn't tell me this. Really? That's dope.
Yeah. I mean, it was, I told you the first one, And then I think I didn't tell you towards the end, like how much of this meditation had changed.
Yeah.
Like even from the rooms you visit, because in your meditation, I don't know if anybody on here knows or has done them, maybe they have, but you know, you visit the box of like putting your worries away.
Yeah.
And that would be different, very different in my head what it is in your head, right?
Absolutely.
So, and each time I do it, it might be different too. Like it might be the same for these 3 times and these 4, that box is something totally different. It just depends on where your mind takes you. So that's why I see the being consistent with it and doing it. But yeah, after like 18 days, okay, that's a lot because I haven't done it for 18 days. But I've done it and then I've done the other ones you said. But even after like 10 days,
yeah,
amazing.
Don't you just feel different? Like every time you wake up, more energy, you feel so positive, and like things just start coming in the direction like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that. And it's like all good things. I'm like, holy shit. Am I a magnet now? But and then not only that, like it's not just like everything's perfect, everything's good, everything's positive, everything. But on the days, I mean, for the most part, it kind of is lately. But I mean, on the days where it's not, you kind of like, you're not so like, well, it's just a shit day. Like it's kind of like, all right, I need to check in with myself real quickly because I don't have to feel this way. Or if I am feeling this, let me take a look at why. Or what am I supposed to learn right now? Like, there's some lesson in this? So it's kind of funny the way you reframe the way you think about things. Because before it'd just be like, today sucks. I need a beer. Give me a shot. I know. Everyone was just like, running away.
This day doesn't suck. There's just something about this day that's probably meant for me to learn, and I'm gonna look at you.
Look at you, dude. Like I honestly, like even from 2 months, you are not the same person I talked to on the phone. You're really not. And I'm, dude. Honestly,
I feel better. I feel so much better. Like, and still a work in progress, but I feel. Oh yeah, life student forever, right? Yeah.
Always. Now, the cool thing is, I'm just listening to you talk, but do you hear yourself talk?
No.
No, you do.
Sometimes, sometimes.
But doesn't it feel good when it comes out of your own mouth and you are your own guru and what you're saying and you've embraced the shell, you are aware of who you were, what you're becoming and what you're attracting. You're re-teaching yourself and rewiring the brain into your beliefs because your beliefs are your own thoughts and you're the one that's saying it. It's coming out of your mouth. So that's why I can feel like there's no hesitation in your words because words don't teach you, you know, like it's the vibe. Like I can tell it's like this. It's like, you know, when you meet people, I see couples do this all the time. It's like, oh, I love you. Oh, I love you too. It's just, there's no meaning behind it. It's just like, wow, I fucking did it. You know, that's why sometimes when people say, oh, I love you, like I'll pick when I want to say it, not just because I'm conditioned. Oh, I love you too. No.
Yeah.
No. It's like, well, you're not gonna say I love you back? Like, why would you? And that's another thing. You're only conditioned to think that way because you hear it so much. Oh, I love you too. Like, you know what I mean? I mean,
right.
And I think movies, media, and everything, the narrative always sets the tone that way. Oh, that's how it should be. I think I told you this. I had a student once. It was a guy student, and he thought what love was. I think I told him. And she broke up with him completely, you know. And then he's like, "Dude, Johnny, what do I do?" I'm like, she said, "Don't come over." I'm like, "So what'd you do?" I came over and I waited there for 2 hours. I was waiting there for a dozen roses. I was a dozen roses. And he goes, I was in her room and I was in her room. I had a dozen roses. And I'm sorry. And I'm like, what'd she do? She threatened to call the cops for trespassing. I'm like,
Have you seen that post? I think it's like Rihanna and she's like holding her purse and it's like when he blocks me from email, Instagram and everything, it's like, I'm on my way, baby. Like he wants me to come over.
Yeah.
It's true. It's like we react based off a lot of things we've seen or been conditioned to, not knowing or not taking the time to understand we don't have to react
exactly
that way.
I agree.
Or what we've been told.
I agree. So I got to ask you, for you, Robbie, what would you like to happen? What is your new story that you tell yourself almost every day?
Okay, it's really funny and this is really funny. I tell myself today's a great day. I have everything I need to take care of everything. I have everything coming to me to be the best self I can be. I have everything I need and it's going to be a great day. And it's funny because as funny as that, or as simple as that sounds, or I don't know, the first time I heard that meditation, I was just like, today's a great day.
Mm-hmm. It's all gloomy and shit.
Yeah, I was like, it's so simple. And she keeps saying it over and over again. Today's a great day. It's a really great day. And I was just like, I don't know if it, but then I kept listening to it. And I swear in the middle of stuff, like even if I'm not feeling so great, I'm like, you know, today's a great day. It's a beautiful day. I have everything I need. And everything is working out for me in the way it's supposed to. Every situation that happens is supposed to happen. It's whether to teach me something, to provide me a lesson to where I need to be. And it's a great day. It's a great day to be alive. It's crazy because it's crazy just because that meditation weirded me out the first time I heard it. I was like, this lady.
And if you guys don't know,
and now I love it. I love it, love it, love it.
Isn't it amazing, right? And something that's one I think every generation there's always a few special star seeds or people that have really honed in and embraced that. Because you imagine knowing this type of power back in the 80s or 90s, it's like people would think you're freaking weird, like you're in an insane asylum. You know what I mean? Like, what? Are you on drugs? Like, are you listening to yourself? Because we're so in tune and conditioned with the third dimension. Third dimension is what's here on this planet. And fourth and fifth is my body and soul. It's your spirituality, what you don't use with your senses, your five senses. It's just your vibe. It's kind of like, let's say we're a couple and or let's say if you've been with someone and you fought in the same room and both of you have yelled at each other and both of you stay quiet. You can feel, people say, I can feel the tension, feel that vibe. It is, guy. You don't even have to say anything. It's just awkward. Yeah. And it's just it's so awkward. And it's just like, no one wants to say anything because you're afraid if you say something, you're not being heard. That's why I tell people, like, when you feel that way in that certain point in time, you got to let go, which means take a walk, take a drive, go eat something, do something, because that allows your vibration to rise and come back and get momentum, because you can't solve any issue. No one's listening. No one's being heard when you're feeling the way you feel.
Yeah.
When it's dominant in your vibration like that, your senses don't work. You're deaf and dumb.
a lot of times too, I think what I've learned lately is like kind of like stepping back and be like,
yeah.
I wonder what brought you to this point. You're like, why are you feeling the way you feel?
Yeah.
What makes you feel that way? And it's kind of like from a point with no anger. Like, but it's not, I mean, don't get me wrong, people can still get a rise out of you. Like, I think there's certain things, but it's much more easy to check yourself now, or to check myself now. Like, okay, wait a minute, wait, I'm feeling off. I'm recognizing this is happening. And like you said, go for a drive, go get some food. Like, take a minute, just see what you can figure out and taking time to calm down. Because like you said, nobody's listening when it's like heated, right?
Right.
When it's heated, I only hear what I'm saying to you and you not understand.
Exactly.
And you only hear everything I'm not saying, or you take it in your own way. It's like nothing, like you said, nothing being heard. Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying I always felt like now how I'd handle relationships if I was in one and I had to communicate. We have a contrasted moment. And I'm like, I would literally step back, because if this happened a lot of times where people just come out and start yelling, like blah, 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 start yelling. Like, you can reframe it just like, whoa, why are we yelling? What happened? What's going on? Talk to me.
Yeah.
Because that immediately, it becomes the mirror. You mirror each other. And if I start yelling and you're fighting fire with fire, no one's going to be heard, because I'm going to feel offended for something I'm being accused of. And I haven't even got a chance to speak yet,
So me and Sadie had a little thing today, actually.
Okay.
And I had told her, because her hair, she just woken up, she had bedhead, her hair was a mess. And I was like, all right, kid, I can't take you anywhere with your hair like that, like, go shower. And she's like, ugh. I'm like, what's your deal, dude? Because they just, I let her have a sleepover, her friends took me to eat. I'm thinking like all this stuff, come on, dude. And she walked away, and I was like, and before I knew it, like we had a moment, she was crying. And I'm like, look, like, and I was only seeing it from my point of view. So I was wondering, I wonder why she talked to me like that. Like, I wonder what she was feeling to make her like kind of react that way. I said her, I was like, hey, like, why did you talk to me like that? Why did you feel like? And so I'm trying to understand her, like, from a non-judgmental standpoint. And she goes, Mom, like, you didn't have to say it like this. And I'm like, what did he say? And then she told me, I was like, oh, okay, because you perceive that the way you do, and I have nothing to do with that. Like, I have to be understanding of, like, okay, you hear something, and I need to be aware of that. Like, I didn't even think I was saying it, the thing I said like that, and she's like, you have to tell me it was crazy. Like, oh, okay, that's because that's how you take it, and you take it sensitively, and I need to be aware that that's something that bothers you. So it's just like stepping back and like, oh, okay, we'll do different. Like, I don't do that to you then. I don't talk, I don't say that.
Right.
It worked. That works for us, because otherwise it would have been like, you know what? Go do what I tell you. I do a lot for you, and I need you to not argue with me. Like, get in the shower.
Yeah.
And don't talk to me like that. And now it's like, that wouldn't have worked for me either.
Yeah, exactly.
It just pissed me off more
Exactly.
as a kid. I was like,
Big time. And
like, you do it because I tell you. Like, remember your parents, because I said so. It's like,
exactly.
that never worked. That never worked.
We get in a Filipino house, dude. We used to get like our ass whooped, dude. They go. I'm like, we get spanked, right? So I remember my kids in class like, wait, your parents hit you? You know that's child abuse, right? Like, they can get arrested for that. So one day I thought I was fucking brave, right? I was just like talking to my parents, and I'm like, yeah, my friend Jacob said this is child abuse. I'm gonna call the cops. And like, my mom, go ahead, call the cops. I said, no, I'm just gonna. I go 911 emergency. I turned it off, and they would call back. I was like, sorry, it was an accident. And a lot of the times it's just like the fear and stuff. Like, it's not our fault, because the way our parents, our culture, whatever it is, their parents raised them that way, and they're gonna raise us that way. And I just thank God we live in such a different world where it's a blank page. Everyone can literally write their own story. There's no excuse, because they don't know what our life used to be. But I think we're on the super head of the game here. Like, people like our age and our generation, we get a chance to experience what it's like on the older side, like how it is, and to be relatable, because we're in our 30s. And then on the younger side, we know what it's like to be a teenager. We know what it's like to be fucking horny, like 21-year-old. Like, your hormones are jumping. I get it. And it's just one of those things where we get to see it all. Like, that's why I feel like we're so blessed and we're so lucky, and that people are
learning through contrast too. I think each generation, like, I feel like it's getting better. Maybe, I don't know if that's the same for everybody, but I know I can look at my grandparents, and then at my mom and dad, and then look at me, and then Sadie, and I'm like, we're all doing gradually better. Like, I feel like it's getting better and better. So for me, that's how I'm looking at it. Like, I'm choosing to learn with her, from her. I feel like, just like, I remember how we were talking earlier, like, even mental health or emotional awareness, it wasn't really a thing. And I feel like it became such a problem. Like, your suicide rates going up, just drinking, especially with the world how it is today. It's like, all right, something's got to change. And that's why I feel like so many people are searching for it's good for an answer, for something.
Right.
And with that, it's like, the answers are there if you find them. If you go out looking, it's gonna find you. And I feel like with each and every situation, it's just an adjustment to find the lesson and to do better. And I just, even with me and her, like, we've done better. She's 10, so from 0 to 10, it's like been such a journey, and doing better and better. She grows me. Like, I grow her, she grows me too, just as much.
She's such a smart kid. Like, even when I talk to her and I connect with her, it's just, I think back, like, when I was 10, I wasn't this aware. I wasn't this smart. I wasn't so in tune, or like, dude, like, in her, like, she just knows. She's a very, very smart kid. You know what I mean? So Mom did good. Yay.
Yeah.
And it's just a beautiful thing. And so that's why I'm just so glad, like, people like, is that an alien in your shirt, in your sweater?
Yeah.
That's so...
I love this shirt.
Dude, today when I was texting you, I think I put an alien in there. I don't know. I was like, what's going on? Like, hey, dude, hey, man, they're here on this planet. So if anything, I think we're the evolved version of one.
Take me. No, I'm just kidding. Don't.
You're so awesome. So with your journey right now, where do you want to go with all this?
I know exactly where I want to go with it. I'm not ready to say yet. Is that okay?
No, you don't have to.
I have it, and I'm I know exactly what my purpose is right now.
I'm good.
And I'm so happy, but I want to sit with it a little bit longer.
Of course.
And love it and nurture it and grow it and
milk the shit out of it.
Absorb everything I need to along the way. But I know it is, and it might change. Shit changes all the time. So like, but I mean, I think it would change around this exact thing. So I'm not going to exactly say, but I think I just want to keep pressing forward and learning and absorbing and loving and spreading love and finding others who are like-minded. It feels like lately it's turning into a community. Like every person who comes, it's like, it's attraction. I swear it's attraction. It's like somebody with a like mind, and it's this growing community of amazing people. And it's funny because a couple years ago, I think I was attracting people who I was like I was really toxic. I'm not gonna sit here and say I wasn't. I mean, even recently, like not recently, but like, you know, recently in the growth phase, like you attract what you're doing. Like you said, reflection of yourself, right? Like if you see things in other people, and just with adjustments, like I'm attracting different people and amazing people. And it's like, if I told you how they were coming to me, like remember the one Instagram DM I sent you, and it was just like a random positive message of love, light, good wishes from God knows where. And I'm like, whoa. Yeah. Because we were just talking about this, and it was nothing like, I mean, yeah, people slide in the DMs or whatever, like, but it wasn't like that. I swear it wasn't like that. It was like just somebody sending out a good wish, and it's like, okay, that was weird and awesome all at the same time, right? Right. And that's all it was, and it was just that. And it's like, okay, this thing's working. This thing is, it's real.
But that's the thing. That's what I'm trying to say. It's just like, you know, going through this, I tell people like, especially when I went through this, and then all my friends, whoa, that was weird. Did you see that? When I had blacked out real quick. No, but it feels lonely at first because you're on your spiritual path, and when you start talking about things, start talking about law of attraction and quantum physics and understanding about your emotions, people are like, are you okay? I mean, you seem depressed. I'm like, no, not really. And that's the thing, is just like, what, like when you let go of the need for anything, and you just are, then that's all you're left with is attraction. And you are attraction, because what you're feeling is what you're attracting, and you radiate your aura, you're about you, like your outside shell. It's not just your physical appearance, but there's a certain energy about you. You know what I'm saying? It's because, and I can feel that. I can feel that from you. That's why I think, to me personally, people who are enlightened or woke, because everyone has their own version or definition of woke. Like, oh, it's 5 a.m. I'm woke. Aligned. Yeah, it's just aligned. Very good. Yeah, there you go. You're lined up with who you are. This is the type of relationships I value so much, because even in your own, you know, when people go forward with their wants and their desires and everything that they want, this to me is a meaningful relationship. You know, and because everything means something beyond what we can understand here in the third dimension. That's why everything feels so natural, and it feels like you can be yourself, like your true self. And I'm not here to judge you. I'm pretty sure a lot of people judge me, but it's okay. And I don't give a because I know who I am. You know, I can't have someone tell me who I am when I already know. That's why confidence is key in there. When you know who you are, that's your identity.
And it's not even like a confidence from ego. It's just a peace. It's more of like an inner peace. Like, I'm not for everybody, and I'm not here to please you, and that's cool. Like, and no love, and just you do you. Yeah. Right? What's that saying? I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay. Yeah. And I'm good with that, actually. Like, I don't want to I don't
exactly. I know. What if I want a coffee one day?
What if I want boba?
Yeah, boba. Wow. Well, this was like amazing. I think we got a good conversation out of this, and explaining about your background and who you are and what you're becoming and our stories. And guys, like, I want to let you guys all know that you're not alone, and people like us are inexistent. I'm going to drop them your Instagram. You can follow her. Good. Let them know. How do they follow you? What's your name on Instagram?
It's Robin K_XO.
Yes, XO. So I'm Johnny O, Mr. Jonny Truelove, and I'll put that in the description below. But I just want to thank everyone for watching. And
I want to say one thing before we go. If you guys haven't seen his meditation for meeting your higher self, go look at it. It's on his YouTube. I'm sure he has the link somewhere, but it's seriously, and I'm not even doing this to blow you up. You didn't ask me to do this. I'm just saying it's one of those meditations where it's really beautiful and it's really helpful. I'm really grateful for it. So
thank you, baby. I appreciate you. And this gets me off. I'm going to be honest with you. This is like a spiritual gasm for me. Okay. So I'm like, finally, people who use it. Yeah. Cool. And look.
I sent it to some of my friends and like, I'm not stressed.
Really? Do you ever get ones that come back at you like, Robin, are you serious right now?
No, I've gotten good responses. But like, so far I've gotten good response. If I ever get one of those, I'll laugh and be like, no, it's not. You're not everybody's cup of tea.
But no,
I haven't gotten that yet. I've gotten good responses when I shared it with people. And I'm like, okay, exactly, law of attraction. Like, why would I have to share it? I don't know, but it's coming to me. I'm like, oh, I got you. Like, Johnny got you. So I wanted to throw that in there before we closed off.
I appreciate you guys so much. Well, thank you guys for joining us, and then we'll catch you on the next one.
All right. Bye, everyone. Thank you.